Vegas theme to this news update. Would that be fair, Brooksy? Because we are in Vegas week.
True.
And there's already rumours about who's going there in 2026. Now, this is 2 years on the bounce that I haven't got the call up to go over there. But I'm very, very excited with this headline here. Bulldogs and Dragons to potentially headline Vegas in 2026, courtesy of Michael Chammas.
Yeah.
So we're already getting early scoops on who's going to be going next year. Wouldn't that be a mouth-watering prospect, Brooksy? Big day.
Amazing. I've been thinking about it all day. I feel that would be such a big matchup over there to start the season that you would nearly fill that stadium. Like, I think the Bulldogs and Dragons fans, when everyone's on 0 points, going to a big venue like that, I would think that they would be breaking the records from, let's say, this year.
Yeah.
And potentially filling that stadium. I think it would be great to have two Sydney teams vying for 2 points in Vegas to start the 2026 season. Bulldogs, Dragons, I think they're both on the rise.
It's got my ticket approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. You know what is interesting about who plays in Vegas obviously this is only the second time, but it seems like you just got to throw your hand up weirdly and go, oh, we'd like to go, like, of the teams who are left. Because the NRL have said that, like, as time goes on, they're going to try and send all the teams there, right? But so currently, teams are just going, oh, we'll do it. I'd like to see an in-season match from some of those teams where if you win, and it's for a trophy of some description, you get the ticket to Vegas.
Like a little Vegas play-in tournament.
Like it would be interesting if your top 4 spots would mean that you're playing over in Vegas. It's all paid for. Everything's paid for. Like, it's all, sorted. So you're not losing like a home game, for instance. Like, there's incentive to do well in the season, so you would go to Vegas.
So you had a little idea about this potentially solving, because one team does have to give away their home game status, I suppose, to go over there. What was your theory?
Well, this is the chat with it. So in the Herald, and what's being spruiked is that it won't necessarily potentially be a home game for either the Bulldogs or the Dragons. So it would be a shared home game. Someone would have the official moniker of being the home team, but everything would be shared. And then the second game that season, back in Australia, at a neutral venue like an Allianz, would be shared gate takings from that as well. The other team that wasn't the home team in Vegas being the home team in this scenario. Mm-hmm. So in saying that, if it's not your home game and you're sharing the gate, both teams would be promoting that game, right?
Yep.
Because you're trying to get as many people in there and gain your 50% of whatever's earned in that match.
Yeah.
I think this could be the future of, what we do with big marquee games, where if we are going to have a marquee in Vegas, then do that for the second game and then see how much money and go to a big venue. So, because it's great playing at Wynn and Cogra, it is a home advantage when it's full and it's great. But if you can play in a venue that has more than double than what Cogra and Wynn has, and you're getting a lot of away fans there too, it's a great day in terms of profit for your club. And I think we need to leverage into that more, and both teams promote the game.
So this is smart. So the Doggies, they're considered one of the front runners of, getting a seat on the plane for next year. So they're probably top pick, but they're, I guess, to boost their chances, they've almost joined forces with the Dragons. This is what Chammas is saying, to even, bolster their chances even more, to say, well, if you take us too, you're going to get pretty close to a sellout on the day. What is there a greater rort in any workforce than a fact-finding mission?
Oh, yes.
So I can confirm Bulldogs chairman Adam Drewissy, general manager Phil Gould, and CEO Aaron Warburton will head to Las Vegas this week on a fact-finding mission.
That's every Saturday.
I want to know what facts they're going to come back with.
Yeah,
what are some facts you could come back with from Vegas?
I don't know, but you just said the Bulldogs. Gus has got Vegas written all over him, don't you reckon? Because I follow him on X, and he's big into the Trump world. He recently just pretended he was Trump. Did you see this?
No.
Word for word, and he obviously loves the Big Don, because he was pretending he was Trump and saying what he would say. So I think the Bulldogs and Gus going to Vegas, that would be unreal. I'd love that.
You think the NRL's going to want a sellout, right? With, this next 3-4 years. It probably won't be sold out this Saturday, Sunday. If you can provide a matchup like that in the next few years and it sells out, you have basically done what you've wanted to do to achieve in going to Las Vegas, and then being able to show the world you've filled a legit NFL venue and sold it out prior to game day. And that's what I think a matchup like that potentially does. Parramatta Bulldogs, West Tigers, if they start going up the ladder in the next few years, let's say in year 4, the Tigers might play finals footy this year, might build on that. Year 5.
South Roosters.
It could be. And then there's 20 spots up for grabs in 5 years, right? If we're going to keep the double-header format going for NRL games. So some of the teams are going to have to go back in year 4, year 5. So I think that's got to be...
It has to be a double header.
Target.
They have to stick with the double header to try and get anywhere near a full house because they're not more. Yeah, Bulldogs and Dragons maybe they might get close to it, but it's genius getting the UK crowd over. Genius move. There's a guaranteed 15,000 tickets probably somewhere in that vicinity. Double header of the NRL variety that gets you pretty close. Then you throw in the women's international, so you're appealing to every single aspect of the game: men, women, and the UK. Genius stuff. Philpy.
Do you ever see, boys, in the crystal ball, State of Origin in Vegas?
Ooh.
Like, obviously not now, like at the start of the year for around like normal time when it's on, but down the track, like if this NRL experiment, which seems to be going really well, keeps improving and it's flying in, 5 years or so, the Volandis goes, hey, we're having, round game 2 or game 1 or whatever in Vegas.
They'd have to change the whole format, wouldn't they? If it's mid-season again, you're going to need a fortnight either side of it.
Yeah.
So they went to Long Beach in 1987.
Yes.
Remember when Sterlo couldn't run out of the banner?
Yes.
And then we've seen the Bledisloe go to Hong Kong. Like they've tried to expand that. Haven't gone back there with that. I don't know. I think it's a tough one. Do you really want to play around with Origin? Yeah. You are already going to Perth and Adelaide and Melbourne every 3 years, but do you really want to do that with one of the games, take it to the US, and they're in mid-season too? That's a tough one, but
it's up
there's
there.
Someone to do it.
Yeah, 100%. It's up there with that chat that happens every Magic round about moving Magic round. I guarantee it'll happen here where someone will say, should we move Magic round from Brisbane to New Zealand or wherever?
Couldn't have thought of a better segue myself. Yeah. The great Andy on the text line. Is Vegas now bigger than Magic round? I think it might be, says Andy.
Interesting. I mean, they're two separate entities.
They are they're hard to compare, but in terms of just overall, I mean, there would be some sort of PR metric or something to be able to work it out. You'd have to say that Vegas gets more coverage than the Magic round.
I agree. You know what I'd love to see in Vegas is, how there's the...
Why not just merge the two?
Well, no, but you know how there's those Edamoga pubs around?
Yeah.
Like, so from that famous cartoon or whatever, there's one out at Western Sydney somewhere. Wouldn't you love to see a fake Caxton Street hotel in Vegas?
Oh, you got the strip, and then off to the side is Caxton.
A
pop-up.
It's a pop-up Caxton Street.
Behind the Win.
Oh,
I love that idea, Philpy.
Fairmont Street sort of got that Caxton vibe of Vegas. Like it's old school Vegas.
Someone should take a Caxton Street sticker and whack it over the Fairmont.
Just
Street.
pop-up pubs.
How would you define that Caxton vibe? Would you define it like a bit of a zoo?
Yeah, pants down or pants off. Alan Langer could have hosted the whole event with a bit of karaoke. I know he likes a bit of that at the Caxton, but yeah, there's something in that.
So that's the Dragons and the Bulldogs. Looks like they're in the front seat. Off the back of this fact-finding mission, who else is going there, though, next year? Probably need a Queensland team to make it that truly national flavour. I think Melbourne Storm have to be almost a bit of a tap-in as well to get that. Imagine a Vegas, because the AFL wouldn't have started yet. I think they're still 2 weeks away. So that would cover all of Greater Melbourne in terms of sport coverage for that time.
Yep.
That would be huge. Would they travel? Their fans? Maybe not. There'd be a few media junkets. I know that.
Possibly. Well, what we've seen only a few of the AFL teams start up. They sort of try and leverage off the fact that the NRL's outside for the start of their season. So the 4 northern teams play,
right.
but there is generally 4 Victorian teams. I don't know. I wouldn't suggest if you're a mad AFL fan and you go for the Storm that you'd go to Vegas. But if you're a sports fan, you want to experience it, right? It's gaining momentum. It's a tough one. But if you played with the Cowboys or something and it was 2 teams that were deep in finals in 2025, then that's enticing. Bulldogs, Dragons in a Storm, Cowboys.
Yeah, it's not like bad. Now, just going back to my Newcastle Knights, obviously you got a whole town.
How have you shoehorned the Knights into this chat now?
Well, on the Saturday Morning Mowers Club, we interviewed Kurt Gidley, and we sort of said, Kurt, what would you like to go to Vegas? You know what Kurt Gidley said?
There it
okay,
is.
fair enough. But Kirk Gidley said, mate, I'd bloody swim to Vegas, right?
Oh.
And I was like, how good would that be? And not necessarily with Kirk Gidley, but like getting that old school 97 Knights grand final team and the looseness that occurred around that and having some kind of reunion tour in Vegas.
Yes.
Oh, Joey.
How do we get there, Philpy? Me and you next year, I think we have to go.
Yeah, we're on.
Even if the Knights aren't going, you can come with me. You can be my carry-on luggage for in my
Thank you,
Bulldogs
mate.
backpack.
Fact-finding mission.
Fact-finding, sorry.
Yes.
Get that word right. Hey, the visa issues. This always rears its ugly head. Visa issues for Sam Burgess, who's obviously involved as coach in that matchup featuring the Super League. He's left his run very, very late here, Philpy.
Yeah, so he's still hasn't been sorted out yet as we go to air?
As we go to air, I think he flew down to London or caught a train down to London, however you get to London from Warrington, to tee up a bit of a meeting at the embassy or the consulate. Still not fixed. Yeah. Remember there was journos camping out at the US consulate in Sydney last year to see what players had to go through that process. That was a bit quiet this year.
Yeah. Luke Brooks was
Brooksy was sighted there. I'm told that was all above board, though. There was nothing nefarious involved in Brooksy's lining up there.
You know what it was? He just couldn't take his barbecue with him overseas.
That's right. Yeah.
He was desperate to put it in the overhead baggage, but they were like, no, mate, you can't take a barbecue to America with you. So
Burgess, so all the players and other staff, they have gone over there, but he was forced to skip their flight after failing to resolve the visa issues. He's obviously had some sort of history over here in Australia, and I think that's slowing it down. So he's still waiting to get a formal visa clearance to allow him to enter the US. But those close to him and the club remain confident that he'll be able to travel in time for the game. Just how much of the lead up, though, he misses. Not ideal sort of lead into a match, I guess, if the Warrington plays when your coach isn't there.
No, could he not pretend he's one of his brothers? Because last year the Rabbitohs played over there. It was a Burgess that went.
That's right.
Yeah, a fake mustache. I don't know, like a wig of some sort.
Yeah, because they're not strict at all over there, the Yanks. I reckon they won't be able to figure out. Breaking news from the Gold Coast Titans. We obviously know Kieran Foran. He came off that match with a bit of a biceps injury. We've seen with a lot of ice on the arm. Now confirmed he's going to undergo surgery on Wednesday after scans showed that the playmaker sustained a tear in his biceps in Saturday's 26-18 trial against the Dolphins up there at KO Stadium. He's expected to be out for 12 weeks.
Oh, no.
Philpy, the 34-year-old, will return in May, dependent on his progression, recovering from going under the knife. That is not ideal.
No, that sucks, doesn't it, for rugby league fans? I mean, like there was a bit of a conundrum around the Titans halves and not how many players fit into the positions, but that's not how you want it to be solved. You want it to work itself out naturally with form and whoever puts their hand up. And, that's no good for the Titans. Sorry to hear that.
Does Joel Kane have some sort of saying about like a gift coming badly wrapped, a good gift coming badly wrapped or something? This could be an absolute, not a blessing for them, but it could just make the decision that Des Hasler's got in front of him a little bit easier. Now he's only got really 3 to fit in those 3 spots.
Yes.
It becomes an issue if there's more injuries, which is always an issue for any team. But the situation last year was, it seemed to be that they weren't all fit at the same time, so they had no continuity in any of those spots in the spine.
Yep.
And now they're starting the year with only those 3, it looks like, available, but it might just make his call a lot easier, and he has to stick with it.
That's right. And, as mentioned again, the Newcastle Knights halves and coach get criticised for rotating around. The Titans aren't aren't too dissimilar. Like, AJ Brimson ended up in the centres at one point last year. Campbell spent time at fullback, then he was in halves. So there was certainly a lot of rotation around that. We heard Kieran Foran might have been playing a bit of off-the-bench lock or hooker-type role.
Yeah.
So it's real bad news for him. Also, West Tigers star Justin Olam had some injury news coming out today as well.
So this potentially could be the second medical retirement in a couple of weeks off the back of Christian Welch down there for the Melbourne Storm. So Justin Olam, this is from Brent Reid, West Tigers centre Justin Olam on the verge of a medical retirement as he struggles to overcome a knee injury that required surgery in the off-season. So he hasn't played any pre-season yet, the PNG International. Only managed to play 13 games last season. That was in his first season at West Tigers from the Melbourne Storm. Looks like the Tigers have given him a fair bit of time to make a decision, so there's no rush from their perspective. He's on about $600,000 as part of that contract with the West Tigers.
Oh,
right. So this year and next year, I believe, but they can apply to have that money moved off their salary cap if they can prove that it's genuine medical grounds that he has to retire. So maybe a little bit of chess, pieces going on in the background.
Yeah.
Obviously a legitimate retirement, but moves a fair bit of their cap off.
Yeah, there's also some breaking news out of the Supercoach NRL, like solo Instagram page and stuff, where they're saying, for Vegas anyway, in some selection news, that Blaze Talangi, new signing for the Penrith Panthers, might be overlooked for selection. Obviously touted as a relatively big name. They're also claiming...
Does it say who is going to get the nod in front of him then?
I can't pay for it here.
That's the issue.
I'm a tight ass. I can't spend the money. And also Owen Paddy, young hooker for the Raiders, looks like he might be firming to debut over in Vegas as well.
Interesting. Need a nickname for him.
It's
all.
It's Knick-Knack by our own Joel Kane.
Knick-Knack Paddy. All right. Meet Paddy.
I don't mind it. I'm hearing there's some breaking news. Apparently, everything that happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas. What do you got for us?
Yeah, that's right, Shawnee and Philpy. This is via Michael Shamus on X, formerly Twitter. Breaking: 2 Canberra players involved in late-night altercation with each other at Las Vegas team hotel. Story with @Danny_Weidler.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there might be something coming up on the news
I
at
cannot
6
wait for
PM.
that little 2-shot Danny Weidler with the head in there. Breaking news from Vegas.
Yeah.
That's going to be outstanding.
And if Danny Weidler's involved in a story, then it's not going to be, someone visiting a sick kid at the hospital.
No.
It's generally one of these type scenarios, isn't it? So if you get tagged into Danny Weidler's thing, interesting to see how this plays out. How long have they been over there for? Like 2 days?
So there's a bit of one of those more to come articles has come out.
Yeah.
And so it says and this is Shamus and Weidler, 2 Canberra players were involved in a late-night altercation at the team hotel in Las Vegas after one of the players was left stranded without a room due to a system malfunction. So Danny Weidler's been talking about what's been going on at Resorts World.
Seen that.
Where there's been a malfunction. People haven't been able to check in for up to 5-6 hours waiting in the line for the hotel. So frustration, obviously.
Really hard place to kill time as well, Vegas. Sounds awful. Have some spare time on your hands.
Yeah, totally. So then, how does that transpire in that 2 teammates have had an altercation? So one bloke's got a room, one doesn't.
Possibly.
He's tried to jam his foot in the door and go, let me in. And he's
Might be a paper, scissors, rock just gone bad.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a Moses Enrique situation.
Could be.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
What's that?
In the hotel room.
Yeah, he was sprung.
The laptop.
Hotel room.
Oh,
yes. But yeah, more to come, gents. I think, yes, we will find out in the next couple of hours how this all plays out.
I can't wait for the news tonight. All right, time for the weekend sports wrap. Coffs Tiger, he wants to chat some AFL after this, but you're with the run home with Joel and Fletch on SEN.
You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade. But if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.